Think we're live again. Welcome
What's
back,
up, dude?
everyone. What's up, Chris? How you doing?
Great. How are you?
Good, man. Hey, so we had an awesome all hands yesterday,
We
and we
did.
talked about some pretty crazy help desk stats. And I was
We
thinking
did.
today, I would just ask you about the desk and like what you've built. It's pretty incredible.
I won't take all the credit. Yeah, the help desk stats for 2025 were, I mean, I knew they were shaping up, but looking back year to date, holy shit.
Wild.
Yeah, they were very, very impressive. Shout out to our help desk staff. Shout out to our dispatch team.
They did such a
Everybody,
great job.
everybody did a very, very, very good job. Yeah.
So, what was the stat that you mentioned yesterday that blew everyone's mind?
Oh, the biggest picture I could paint is we closed 13,580 tickets last year. A little over 1,000 a month. And that's the way we were trending. And out of that, every ticket that is completed, the user gets an opportunity to give us feedback. We use Smileback, which is like the most common CSAT score, customer satisfaction score in the industry. And they can either leave a positive review, a neutral review, or a negative review. And out of 13,650 tickets last year, we only got 12 negatives for the year. I mean, that's unheard of on any help desk in any industry.
Yeah, it's unreal.
People call the help desk, they're already irritated. Those that
Right.
that's a state of mind that they enter Network Depot, and for them to only give 12 negatives for the whole year, and we have
That's
very,
insane.
very high, like the high percentage of response rate. It would be one thing if we got 12 responses and all were negative, but we got 3,000 responses and only 12
Yeah,
were
that's
negative.
insane. It's also crazy too because I've seen the stats, and generally in the industry, the goal for most MSPs is to have like half a ticket per user per month. That's like one of the
Mhm.
metrics we try and beat. And we're way below that. We're less than half that, which is insane because it tells our process is already so good where they're not really submitting as many tickets as I'd say most MSPs would probably get from a client because of our whole overall process of remediating the issue before they have to call about it.
Yeah,
And then
the
so when
best
they're already
the
calling,
best
it's usually a
help
high level
desk
ticket.
metric is no help desk metric. No one wants to call a help desk, and so we put a lot of emphasis into consulting clients into best practices, putting mini projects in place, large projects in place, getting them to a point where their users are trained and they're not launching very many problem tickets. And that metric, like you just mentioned, is measured by tickets per user per month. That's a common KPI in the industry. And like you said, companies aspire to zero point 0.5. So an example of that would be we sign up a client, they have 10 users, and they will only launch 5 tickets a month with us. That would be 0.5. That's the industry's goal. Ours is 0.3. Maybe that doesn't sound like much, but 10 users sign up and that's only 3 tickets a month. 100 users sign up and that's only 30. The delta gets wider as a percentage. So it really does move the needle. It's a KPI that we pay attention to and review.
It's crazy. Like, not to harp on that stat so much more, but that's the industry's goal. That's not the industry's average by any
Correct.
means. The
Mhm.
industry's average is well over 1 ticket per user per month. So
Yeah, I mean, especially when a client first comes on, they're messy. There's a reason they came in, right? And so like that's almost like the better you are at sales, the more new clients you're bringing in, that higher that number is going to be. It's going to be a little bit more inflated with the new clients. The clients that have been here for a year or two or more, that
yeah, they're
number
not submitting
is
tickets
point
anymore.
0.2. So it's just unbelievably low. It gets to the point where the only types of tickets they're launching are change ads. They're not even problems, is what I'm getting at. They're only requests. I have a new user starting. That's not a problem, right? But it's a ticket. Yeah, that's our goal. That's what our entire internal process is geared towards, driving ticket count down, and we've gotten pretty, pretty good at it.
So staying on this topic of metrics, what help desk metrics do you think are most important to pay attention to for MSPs? And then second, which ones do you think are overrated?
Good question. I would say the most important metric, one of the most important metrics on the help desk to measure would be time to resolution. And
So it really matters.
it's
Yeah.
not the only one, but what a help desk I have found, the success of a help desk is measured by speed. And this, it's not speed to, a tier one person calling you, making contact with you. Yes, that's important. Like time to contact, time to first contact, make you feel like, oh, okay, like, I'm talking to a human being type thing. That's a good thing. But if it gets escalated to somebody else, then that's a bad thing. If it drags on over days, that's a worse thing. It's so really
They want that thing
it's
fixed.
time to resolution, and that first contact, time to resolution.
Okay, so those are the two most important. And then which ones would you think are, is there like an overrated metric in the industry?
An overrated metric. I would say SLAs themselves are overrated.
I agree.
I, yeah, I would say an SLA itself is overrated. If an SLA is there to protect the provider, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
It's not necessarily there to protect the end client. So I'll give you an example. A printer issue. That's a common, SLA type ticket to put into a standard SLA is you call me with a printer issue. My SLA says that I need to get back to you within 1 business day. Well, if it happens on a Friday, then that's a Monday, right? If it's an emergency and you're printing a proposal or you're printing paychecks, well, that's an emergency. And so that SLA doesn't really apply to that situation. So we take a kind of a common sense SLA approach. I know that might sound kind of loose at first glance, but if the client tells us it's emergency, then we're going to treat it as such. So now you have to be staffed appropriately to be able to deal with emergencies when they come up, to be able to throw something, some labor at an emergency. But I would say, for the most part, an SLA is there to protect the provider, not the client.
I think that's right. And also, something that I've heard a lot is it's usually a legal thing. People want the SLA, like, oh, the MSP will respond within this time just because they've been burned by their current MSP.
That's true.
They just don't get responses. It's like, I just heard last week somebody called in and they told me, Matt, our MSP, I submitted a request to get added to a distro list 3 weeks ago. They still haven't got back to me.
That's bad.
Like, okay,
it's
now I
crazy,
understand
Matt.
why you want an SLA. Like, that makes sense. And they're like, Matt, I just want it resolved maybe within a week, but like 3 without a response. Like, what are we doing here?
It's crazy. I used to think that our real superpower here was our ability to consult with clients, get them up to industry best practices, our standards, take them from where they are to where they want to be. Okay. That's what I thought our superpower was. We're very, very good at it. And the result of that is a decline in tickets, a decline in problems. You're there, you're having fewer problems. That's great. And we become very, very good at it. But a funny thing has happened over the last maybe 18, 24 months, and our help desk has become a superpower. I thought that it was like every help desk should be fast. Every help desk should be well staffed. Every help desk should be pretty even. And I'm wrong. It turns out that not all help desks are created equal. And so we have put a lot of energy into making our help desk perfect, as perfect as it can be. It has evolved into a superpower. A client told me that yesterday, unsolicited, before the all hands. He said superpower.
That's awesome. How do you feel when a client, this is kind of a segue topic. How do you know when a client is happy, even if they're not opening tickets? You talk about the process, bring the client on, they probably call us a bunch in the first year. We've heard that over and over. And then as the time goes on, they call us less and less because our process is working. We've uncovered the root issues, the problems, we resolve them. This is kind of more to teach MSPs out there. How do they know when the client is still happy with their work even when they're not calling about the tickets, like it's almost not the reason you're the provider anymore. At least that's how we think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think what you're referring to is kind of a classic dilemma. It's like working yourself out of a job,
Yeah.
right? It's like, okay, well, I've gotten you to the point where you don't really have problems anymore. And if you do that and you're successful in doing that, great, they don't have problems anymore, but what am I paying you for? I pay you to fix problems, right? And so it has to be a reframing, not just a conversation, but it's a reframing of the relationship. And hey, man, you don't want problems. I don't want you to have problems. We have a mutual goal now, and we've accomplished that goal. We've arrived at the promised land. And, what you're looking at right now is the success of this relationship. So, a lot of times people will want to get the value out of something that they pay for, right? They want to like see, okay, well, I'm paying Network Depot to solve problems, but they're not solving problems. And keeping a client in a position where they don't have problems is an ongoing, believe me, it is an ongoing process. It doesn't stop and doesn't sleep. So keeping a client in that position where they don't have problems is never going to stop. The landscape changes, and therefore that client must change, and therefore we must keep that client current. And that is mostly done through VCIO, VCTO, kind of keeping them in security best practices, keeping their users trained, doing ongoing things to keep them there, to keep them in a place where they don't have problems.
Awesome. I got some more questions for you. Staying on the topic of service, when you think about great IT service, what does perfect actually mean in practice? We always say we want to be perfect.
Perfection is the goal. What does perfect look like? You could break down our product into essentially two goals. One is I want the client to get to a point where they don't have problems. That's obviously not done through the help desk. That's done through account management. That's done through consultation. That's getting little mini projects, big projects, getting the client buttoned up. Okay. That I want to do that as fast as possible. Speed plays a role in that as well. Urgency plays a role in that. Attentiveness, management of, milestones, timelines, expectations, all that stuff kind of goes into that. So perfect for me with that would be we are moving at the pace where we are pulling the client, not being pulled by the client. So we want to be leading that charge. That would be perfection to me. We are coming to the client before they come to us. That means that we're moving as fast as we can. And that would be perfect for me. The second would be, okay, well, if you do have to call our help desk, God forbid you have a problem and you have to call the help desk, I want that shit knocked out fast. If you see our CSAT scores, they're live on the website. It's all fast, quick, fast, quick, fast, quick. It's not a guessing game.
Those are live too, by the way. Those aren't
they're live.
Old.
This is no longer, I wonder what the user wants. The users are telling us they want speed. That's what they want. That's what they care about. Okay, let's give it to them. So, there's two things that go into that. One would be, okay, I need a help desk staffed appropriately so that there is bandwidth so that when a help desk ticket comes in, somebody's jumping on it, right? Yeah. It's not getting in a queue that's being, put off till tomorrow. Yeah. So somebody's got to jump on it immediately. I have to be appropriately staffed. And the people who I staff on the help desk are not tier one people, because that's not, that might check the box of like first contact. Okay, I could, I've a whole bunch of tier one people on staff.
Explain tier one real quick. What is tier one versus tier two?
So technicians and engineers themselves, kind of colloquially, it's a tier 1 through 3. You hear tier 4 if it's like a network architect or something like that. But tier 1 through 3 for this conversation. Tier 1 would be somebody who is maybe fresh out of college, has a computer science degree and maybe some Microsoft certs or something like that. They're mostly dealing with, the change ads of the world. And they're knocking out tickets. They're knocking out tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. the requests of the world, not really problem tickets, but they know what they're doing. Tier two would be somebody who has 5 to 7 years experience and also those credentials, maybe a few more Microsoft certs or Apple certifications or something like that. But because of their experience, they've seen problems and they've worked through problems and they have some heavier troubleshooting skills and experience under their belt. That's a tier two. A tier three would be a network architect. That would be somebody who you would trust as a VCTO who could design your network, think through your business problems, put technical solutions in place, and then implement them. We have a bench of tier two. Okay. And because of that, they're able to solve problems faster. That's it. I'm not saying that these are smarter people, but they are certainly more experienced, and their experience leads to a faster close time for the client. And so when I say speed, you need that higher level engineer. On that first touch, that person can solve your problem. We say take it to resolution.
You're never talking to someone that can't fix your issue, basically, when they call in for help desk ticket.
Exactly. I mean, really, our tier threes, I didn't pull the metrics on this, but they don't touch the help desk tickets. They're never called.
They're all resolved by tier two tickets,
unless it's like a help desk ticket that comes in as a help desk ticket. But then our tier two help desk is like, I think this is maybe a systemic thing that I've seen. Then they would pull in the tier three, and we would kind of consult the client, have a meeting about it. Hey, I think this is a problem. It's systemic. Here's the solution. Let me implement this. It kind of turns into a little bit of an initiative rather than just a ticket.
Let's stay on tier one for a sec. I hear all the time, I'm always talking to prospective clients. And so a lot of times they come to me and they say, Matt, every time I call in, I get somebody on the phone. Great. They've got the response, but they have to waste a half hour of my time before they can send it to someone that can actually fix it. And that guy's always busy. And then it's 2 days that pass, and then they might get a call back or an email back. That's tier one. That experience of talking to someone that can't fix your problem, you're talking to a tier one operator. And it's not that they're bad technicians. They're just not trained to fix things and haven't seen the problems. Like Chris said, the experience, 5 to 7 years of seeing actual issues and fixing them like the tier two operators do.
Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. Do you know what irritates a user more than a problem?
Someone that doesn't know how to fix one.
Having to repeat that problem to an escalated person. It's like,
it's the worst thing in the world.
I just dealt with this yesterday. I was calling Chase Inc. I'm trying to get points transferred from one card to another. And I'm talking to the Chase guy, representative, and he's very, very, very good. And I explained the whole problem and situation. And he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to have to escalate this over the technical department. And I had to repeat it. And I'm just like, that just what if I had gotten routed to them first?
Right.
Problem solved. I'm happy.
So much
resolution
time
goes down. Yeah. So,
why don't MSPs just all do that? What's the deal?
They don't do it because it's an investment.
They're more expensive technicians.
Well, it's to be frank, I would say it is a misjudgment in investment. There are two things that you can invest: money and time. Everybody knows this. Money-wise, if you invest in a tier one person, they're going to cost less. Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. Not as risky as an investment. However, let's focus on the time. What you've done is you just hired someone fresh out of college. You're likely their first job. Let's be real. The first job out of college is usually a stepping stone.
That's right.
And so that person, what you've just said, usually will leave you. You've just wasted some time. You've just trained that person for 1.5 years on your processes. They likely, if they're good, and personable, have created relationships with your clients and your users, learned the environments of your clients, and then they left you. So
a lot of times probably to those clients. We've seen that before.
Maybe there's a non-solicitation that you could enforce. But point being, I think it's an incorrect assessment of the investment itself. You could maybe save $15K a year, something like that, hiring a tier one, $20K a year, $30K a year, hiring a tier one person, but they're going They're going to leave you, and they're going to put your relationships with your clients in jeopardy. That's a risk. And so for me, the question was, what do I think the mistakes are that an MSP makes when staffing a help desk? It would be trying to shortcut your way to throw bodies at tickets. And you think that you think you have it figured out because you can go out and hire a tier 1 person. Tier 2 people, as you go up the ladder, are harder to find. There are fewer of those people.
Yeah, they're not unemployed.
Yeah, the candidate pool is small,
Right.
smaller, and because of that, you think it's a quick fix as a tier 1 person because they're easier to hire and they're less expensive. Let's go, problem solved, move on with my life, and you're just kicking the can.
Yeah.
You're delivering worse service while kicking the can.
Right. That's correct. And also, I guess something unique about us is we have a full dispatch team. A lot of people don't know this. Most MSPs do not have this. I'll repeat it again. Most MSPs do not have a bench of dispatchers and intake people. We have a full roster of people like that just put their brain behind the ticket, just like a dispatcher when you call 911. I use this example all the time on these calls. You call in at 911. If your house is on fire, you probably don't need a cop. You probably need a firefighter. And so they're going to send it to the person that can fix your problem fastest. And then maybe the cop comes later, but it's going to go to the person that you need now. It's the same with us. If you have an on-site issue and you call in, you're not going to get a remote person that's not going to be able to do anything. It's going to go straight to a field technician. They're going to get in their car, and the speed limit is your service response time. They're going to sprint out to the site and be the firefighter and fix your issues. Because, if your power is off, what is a remote person going to do? I mean, seriously, why would we even waste the time? So, and I think that's where a lot of MSPs make a mistake too, is they standard just send all the tickets to a tier 1 person, and they have to waste your time by policy, by the SOP.
Usually it's a round robin. Phone rings, who answers? It's usually a round robin of tier 1 people. Okay, like you're talking to a tech right then, that's good. However, that person likely won't be able to take your problem to resolution.
That's right.
So, and that person is going to be a revolving door position.
It is.
Call in
100%.
6 months from now, that person won't be there. So
100%.
It's just not a good way to run, in my opinion. It's not a good way to run a customer service desk.
How often do we get calls in where people ask for somebody specifically?
All the time.
I want to talk to Scott.
All the time.
Every day.
All the time. I think people lose sight of what an MSP is. This is a relationship business. I mean, how many times have you heard? I mean, I don't know if this is, I'm not asking for a real response, okay? But like when people say, I want a partner as an MSP, I think people throw that away as like a cliche. I want a partner. What is a partner? A partner is a relationship. That's the definition of a partner, someone you have a relationship with. And if an MSP is hiring tier 1 people who are leaving every year, and you have a revolving door on staff, that relationship has to start over every year. And so rather than that, the alternative would be if you hire a tier 2 person, they're going to be like, our tenure is insane. We don't have staff turnover. So I am a strong believer in staff retention mirrors client retention. There's a direct correlation there. And this isn't just in our industry, it's any service industry. You develop a relationship with these people. And so when they call in and they ask for Scott and Scott gets on the phone, what a great relationship. Is there a better compliment for Scott? And is there better customer service for the client?
Yeah, absolutely not.
That's awesome. And this extends beyond just the help desk. If you look long-term at your company, which I would encourage anyone to do, if you look long-term at your company, 3 to 5 years, 5 to 7 years, something like that, that horizon isn't just for you, it's for the people at your company. And so your help desk people, they're going to leave you for 1 of 2 reasons. 1, you're not paying them enough, or 2, you don't have an upward track for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's a dead end.
Exactly. So they're over there hoping that their boss quits and that you think of them, to get a promotion. That's it, right? Otherwise, they're going to leave. So in order to mitigate that and you want to increase your staff retention, what you need to do is you need to have a path forward for them. So if the help desk people get a great relationship with these clients, this subset of clients, they're always working on them, they take ownership, they're the steward of the client, most of the tickets flow through this person. The relationship goes both ways, that person develops a relationship with the client and vice versa. Well, what do you think the next evolution for that tier 2 tech is?
Yeah.
One,
Technical team
two,
lead.
3. They would become a project lead for that subset of clients. Guess what? They never left. Not only was that relationship not jeopardized, it was strengthened because now the client sees, holy shit, this guy that I like on staff who's been serving me for
he's moving
5 years, you just gave him a promotion.
Mm.
Now he's my dude forever, you know,
Right.
and now he's talking business, he's talking shop with me. And so the relationship strengthens. Now that's a great business, well, in my opinion, a great business model. If you are willing to look far enough ahead, 3 to 5 years, the personal development of your staff, that's what you'll find.
Joey, that just happened to Joey.
Yeah, it just happened with
Literally.
Joey. It's the natural evolution. What else would happen?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think the service quality is a bigger differentiator than cost of an MSP, like pricing?
I think that's up to the client. But for us, let's just say our expenses and our cost of goods sold and, you know, the inputs of Network Depot, what it costs to produce our product. Let's just say the inputs are 15% more than a normal MSP. Well, then you would hope that the outputs would be minimum 15% better. But what if, and what we have found is, what if that 15% turns into 75%? Just an insane amount, you know, an order of magnitude better customer service. That, if I could give you $15 and you give me 75 back, I'd do that probably every day of my life.
I was going to ask you about hiring help desk people, because we mentioned this a few times. Like, you got to hire the right people. How do you go about hiring the right people? I mean, that's a huge issue in our industry, but every service industry, is finding the right staff. And I've been on some of the interviews. We went through 20 different people before we found Joey? Like, it was so many different people that we were going for. How do you personally look, like, what do you look for? What traits in the potential staff member?
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to still be heavily involved in interviewing. So I'm sure at some point that'll fall off my plate, but right now it's central to what I do, and I want to be responsible for it. I wouldn't have it another way. So I'm still very responsible from the first interview, the second interview, if there is a third interview, the negotiation with the offer letter. I'm running that, and so I can speak really intimately about this topic, and something that I feel passionately about. The people on the staff are the company. Okay. When you look at what a company is, I know you've heard this before, Matt, from me, but when you look at what a company is, essentially it's a group of people gathered together to produce a good or service. And the cost of the inputs is worth less than the product that you are producing. The thing that you are producing is of greater value than the cost it takes to make it. And in here is an assembly of people. So this is the company. And if you fill that company with rock stars, well, then the multiplier effect takes place, and the product is way better than you could have ever imagined. I'll speak from personal experience. And it takes me by surprise sometimes, but the quality of the people here at Network Depot, it's not by accident. I did over 100 interviews last year. I did over 150 interviews the year before. It's the people. So like, what the hell else would I spend my time with? You know, that's priority one. Yeah. I'm not going to hire someone unless they elevate us.
Yeah.
Why would I?
No, there's no reason to. We talk all the time about hiring, like this is our A team, and talk about the evolution of that, like 5, 10 years ago versus today. And a lot of the staff are still here from 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I've been here 14 years. I've been lucky enough to kind of see the evolution here.
Ben's been here 20 almost. There's
Yeah,
people who've been here for a long time.
He's going on his 18th this year. Very lucky to have these people still here. But yeah, the evolution, essentially, like we were like most MSPs where we would hire, B- people on staff. We did kind of a decent deal on them, and try to squeeze a bunch of work out of them. Okay. I think there's a saying in there somewhere, like hire a B player, work him like an A player, pay him like a C player, or some shit like that. Like that's just insanity. That's like very boomery. I would rather just hire a team of A players. And what happens with the team of A players is they become self-policing. And it began with us 3 or 4 years ago. We had a select few on staff, like most companies, who are A players, and they were carrying the lion's share of the company and the main responsibilities of the company. And they would get frustrated because they'd be sitting next to somebody who was playing video games.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you get frustrated with that?
It would piss me off so much.
Because you're an A player. So
yeah.
You don't like that. And reverse, person playing video games doesn't like Mr. Teacher's pet over here, like trying to be all I can be. Just play video games. You're going to get the paycheck on Friday anyway. It's not a dynamic that works. And so a decision was made by me 3 years ago, that 3.5, 4 years ago at this point, that was no longer going to be our future. And I'm not going to settle for that. And so I went to work. And that's why I've been in all these interviews. And
we have an incredible staff. It's actually crazy. We just talked yesterday about staff literally freaking out that they don't have enough work to do.
Yeah, I know.
Who the hell thinks that way?
I know.
Seriously, a technician thinking I need to do more tech work.
Yes. Like a whole team of them, dude. Like the holiday. All right, for everybody out there, the holidays are a slow time for MSPs. Okay. The how busy an MSP is dictated by how busy our users are. And if our users are all on Christmas break or out on Thanksgiving, no tickets are coming in. And so, it's not very busy here. It's a slow time. And
DC really shuts down in December.
DC especially, yeah. And so this team of A players is freaking out. Like, what am I doing today? What am I doing today? What am I doing today? And but I was able to take those people and I was able to steer them in internal initiatives that otherwise wouldn't have gotten done or something like that, or would have gotten done in February without their help. So we're able to make a lot of internal progress when the times are slow because we have people who are just kind of waiting in the wind.
Yeah, we got tons of SOPs written. We're right there to get audited for CMMC level 2. Like all that happened in the past month.
I know, man. Dude, we're moving insanely fast.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, I used to think that a CEO's responsibility was setting the pace of a company, which I believe that's true. But I would imagine that most CEOs are pulling their staff, keep up, right? Keep up with me, keep pace. And it's such a weird feeling.
The opposite here.
Realization, acceptance, really, that sometimes they're pulling me. Sometimes I'm getting phone calls saying, hey, Chris, what could I be doing? Hey, Chris, let me look into Copilot because this client wanted to do this. I'm like, you're on the help desk, dude. And you know what I mean? You're looking to consult a client on Copilot. And what a luxury. It's an odd feeling, to be honest with you, but it is our reality.
It's insane. I honestly think that where we struggle with the most is like actually showing potential clients what the inside actually looks like. Like we have plenty of reviews all over Google and it's like I still can't oversell like how good it is. It's actually insane.
Yeah, I mean, a client yesterday on the phone with me said, Paul Miller, and he was like, Chris, your VCIO services are good, but what I think you undersold was the help desk. And I was like, I mean, you're probably right. I don't remember, that was years ago, but he was like, I have never once gotten a complaint from my staff about your help desk. They are fast, reliable, and friendly. It is your superpower. Unprompted.
Word.
Unprompted. I had called because we had to shift a meeting around from like 11 to 12 and he said that. And then I come back internally and I give like the team who supports that client a call and told them this. And the tech lead for that pod said, Scott handles like 100% of the tickets that come from that client. So what that means is Scott is a superpower. And I'm like, I guess so. I guess that's right.
You're gonna think we only have Scott on the help desk. We keep talking about Scott.
I know. It's just topical right now. Top of mind.
It's awesome.
But yeah.
So awesome. That's great. So talking on the same topic there, Palmer said that's our superpower. That's what proactive IT support really looks like for an end client at the end of the day. Our process takes place. We've remediated the super big annoying issues. And then if they have to call in, like you said, heaven forbid, they have to call in about a problem, the fastest response time they could possibly have, the best experience. What else does proactive IT support really look like for an end client? That's really
it's hard to talk about an MSP without talking about security, cybersecurity. So I'll use this as an opportunity to talk a little bit about that. But cybersecurity is something that is probably the fastest evolving thing in our industry. Compliance is fast too, but that revolves around cybersecurity, so it's almost one and the same. But cybersecurity is moving insanely fast. It's come on strong and hasn't slowed down. It's likely not going to slow down with AI. It's only going to accelerate.
It's gonna speed up.
So staying ahead of things, it's hard to talk about that without talking about the fastest thing in the room, which is cybersecurity. Now, what most MSPs have coined MSSPs, managed services and security providers. I think that's semi-buzzy. If you're not doing that, you just go do something else.
Yeah.
So, there are
we just include it too. Like we don't even.
Well, we don't just include it. We mandate it.
Yeah.
We mandate it.
We mandate a SOC team. Who the hell mandates a SOC team for a 5-person nonprofit client?
I do. If you come,
yeah, we do.
If hi, welcome to Network Depot. Here's your account manager, your tech team lead, your help desk person, your field tech, and your security suite. You don't have a choice. If you come in, you're going to get the best. That's it. You invite only.
And that's not even just because we're a good MSP, because I think most MSPs include it at some point, or they upcharge it, but they have the security features somewhat. They try and include to their clients. They probably don't have a SOC team. But we mandate it. We can't afford a breach. I mean, we're the official IT and cybersecurity partner for the NAGC. Like that's over 120,000 government contractors across the country. We cannot afford a breach for any of our clients. It just can't happen. And so they don't have a choice. They need to be secure. If they come on board as a Network Depot client, you will be secure. I'm sorry. You're welcome.
Yeah. Our clients pay us. Listen, I've been here for 14 years, and for the first 10, I did sales, which means I had a lot of conversations with prospects out there. And I also have a beat on the industry. I know what major players in the DC area are charging. I know where we stand. I know what their service offerings are. I have a pretty unique perspective on especially the DC market. Without fail, we are the most expensive in the DC area.
Yeah,
that's a good thing to say on a podcast, but we are without fail the most expensive IT provider in the DC area, which means that 100% of our clients went with the most expensive. It's a natural selection effect at that point. If they are a client, it means that they went with the most expensive option. And okay, that by itself should tell you where they stand.
Yeah, what their
Okay, so
goals
they
are.
pay us to tell them what to do. Chris, just I don't want to think about it. I'm paying you, so you tell me what to do. I'll do it. So the whole like I'm going to mandate that they be the most secure that they possibly can. Well, that's kind of what they said when they signed up. So, I feel like I'm charged with their cybersecurity and I'm going to fucking give it. So that's how I feel.
Awesome. Another question about jumping back to the tickets. How do we exactly prevent tickets from happening rather than just resolving or like throwing a band-aid fix on them?
Sure.
Like, for example, I'm sure people have seen in the industry or just companies in general, we have this printer and like sometimes it prints and sometimes it doesn't, but like it has this weird issue and we've called in and like Jake has fixed it before. So like when we call back in, guys, call Jake and Jake knows how to fix it. Like what if Jake's not there? Like how do you fix that issue at a high level rather than just, resolving it and throwing the band-aid on it every time it happens again? A plethora of things like that usually occur.
So really there's two ways to go about this. One's easy and one's a little bit more complicated to explain. The first one, which is the easy one, is you throw some tools at some stuff. There are tools out there in our toolbox they're preventative in nature. Okay. And so they should be preventing things from happening. If we had a shitty spam filter, well, guess what calls we're getting? Hey, I got spam, right? And so you get a good one, you get fewer calls. Stuff like that. It's a basic example. But so you blanket some stuff with some tools, but there's still going to be some things that kind of squeak through. And one, I want to address what you just said. What you just said, the situation with the printer that you just described is a reactive. In nature, that problem had to exist for our phone to ring. That's reactive. Now, I'm not a big fan of that, okay? So I think a lot of MSPs, they do some level of this, but the problem has to happen first for it to cross their plate, maybe a second time, maybe a third time, boom, now it's a trend. Maybe it pops up on some dashboard. Hey, we should address that. Problem happened 3 times, dude. I think you're late to the party. And it's probably already been resolved. At least that's what we found. We started doing that 7 years ago. That's how we were kind of doing things. Ticket types and subtypes, looking for trends and trying to mitigate things by reactively addressing them. It's not going to move the needle. At least not for us. Everything got anecdotally explained away. So what we need to do is we need to be proactive with this stuff. And that's a buzzword, but let me explain. I view, and here's a nerdy metaphor, I view the help desk as probes. Okay. They're software in our management structure. Okay. And they're out there and picking up on problems. That's what they do all day. Hey, there's a problem. There's a printer problem. And when they're addressing it, they report back to the account manager and the TTL and say, hey, what's up? That printer keeps going offline. My suggestion would be that we create a static IP for that printer because it seems to be, that seemed to be the issue. Okay, well, then the account manager and the TTL, if it involves the client, need to go have that client discussion. They're the central server. They're reported back to the application. The application is a central server, and they go have that conversation and reach out to the POC and get the approval to do whatever's necessary to stop that problem from happening. The same thing happens when the help desk is out there. They see things that no one else has visibility into.
Yeah.
And what I'm talking about is like, hey, I was in this 365 account. It seems like they have a few admins and we need to address that, have the POC delegate admin. That hasn't yet become a problem, but that will likely become a problem. And so that's getting ahead of stuff. So when they notice something, they report back in a pod meeting or ad hoc, and then a change is put in place and the problem doesn't happen, hopefully, ever.
Talk about that pod meeting. What does that mean? What is a pod? What is a pod meeting? That's a little bit different with us versus other companies. The fact that we have pods.
Yeah, I think a lot of clients or a lot of MSPs try to implement a pod structure, and good for them. I think it's a
It's the
winning
right way to do
formula.
things.
Yeah, at Network Depot we have multiple pods, and a pod is responsible for managing a subset of our clients. Okay, and every pod has an account manager or VCIO. They have a TTL, which is a technical team lead, which would be like a VCTO. They have a help desk person, which again is a tier two help desk person who sometimes works on project stuff, and like they're heavily heavily technical, and then they have a field tech. So every time a field tech is required to go out on site, it's the same one. What that does is it creates the relationship with the client, but more than that, it creates the intimacy with the client. So everybody on our staff knows you better than you know yourself. And that sort of tribal knowledge is what I term that. That sort of tribal knowledge works in our favor when supporting the client. Imagine if you called in and you talked to a guy you've talked to 15 times. Well, that conversation is probably going to go better. That call is likely going to end in a resolution rather than if you called in and talked to a stranger who's never
right.
touched your stuff before. So it's just all a good thing. It's just only good things.
Yeah, that's right. We have a compliance pod? Actually, we have a couple of compliance pods. Talk about how the help desk changes when you're supporting regulated orgs, like companies that need CMMC compliance versus just a standard private business.
Sure. So not only do we have multiple compliance pods, but I would consider all pods capable of handling a compliance client. Okay, so the whole company is elevated to that extent. And what that means is, say, for instance, you're a government contractor and you're under SOC or ISO or CMMC. That means that there is a knowledge gap between you and most MSPs. Okay, most MSPs they're not familiar enough with those control frameworks, with what you need to be doing on the day-to-day. Just something as simple as a password reset, Matt. I'll take that as an example. Say that one of your users calls in and the ticket is a password reset. Well, in compliance world, we have to check with you first. Okay. One would to verify that that's the user. We would do that anyway in a commercial client through 2FA. And then two, we have to give you a call. We have to say, hey, what's up? This person wants to change their password. This person wants to install an app, or it's not on the whitelisted app and they don't have local admin. So I need to get your written approval. That has to be breadcrumbs. Potentially I have to update your acceptable use policy or your access control policy. Provide screenshots of when it was done and upload them to Vanta or whatever GRC platform you're having. That's just a simple change ad. Okay, that's on the help desk level. One, that help desk person needs to know what the hell they're doing. That's a higher caliber of help desk person, likely a certified person. That's more expensive. Somebody who can understand the lingo, understand your environment, understand the controls, the objectives, the policies. That's just the help desk. And then you get into project work and you say, okay, well, I handle CUI, so I have an enclave. Okay, well, if you have a tech team lead or a network engineer or your MSP, and they've never touched GCC or they never touched Prevail or they never touched GCC High, good luck. Yeah, you would need that, wouldn't you? Potentially you have a VDI in a GCC environment. If your MSP has never touched that, then you are a prime candidate for a new MSP. So, and then finally, from an account management perspective, there are things that have to be done, reviewed monthly, quarterly.
It says regularly, doesn't it?
It says regularly. Yeah, it kind of leaves it.
How does that mean?
Yeah, a little bit like up to your judgment. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I'm talking about, there need to be tabletop exercises, vulnerability scans constantly. There needs to be pen testing. There needs to be policy review. There needs to be updates to those policy reviews with timestamps. Even through a self-attestation, you still need to, you get CMMC level 2. You're not going to see an auditor for another 3 years. But in the meantime, you need to prove that you've been auditing yourself, right, through that annual self-attestation. So This is stuff that our account managers should be telling you about.
Right.
You understand? It's a higher caliber of service, more touch points throughout the year, a higher level of service.
Why does that client compliance level support or compliance aware support, why does it matter more often than the client might realize? And I'll rephrase this first, or I'll preface this with, a lot of times when I hear a company needs to get CMMC compliant or SOC compliant or HIPAA compliant or whatever it might be, or stay compliant, they come in and say, hey, just come get us compliant and then see you later. Like, why does the managed compliance matter so much more than they might think it does?
Yeah, the managed compliance is really access to a help desk who understands compliance. You might have, and I would encourage most government contractors, if you're large enough to warrant this, you should have at least a person spearheading, if not, owning your
FSO.
security. Yeah, facility security officer. You should have that on staff. Somebody should be championing this at your company. And if you have that, you might be thinking, okay, well, I just need to become compliant, need a little bit of, hard
little
work
bit of
to
help.
get there. Yeah. And then I'll be chill. And the answer is, unless that FSO is handling your help desk tickets or running your vulnerability scans or doing the tabletop exercises or pen testing or updating your policies, which they probably are, then you're wrong, right? You would need an MSP who is compliance abreast. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Compliance abreast. And it turns out that there aren't very many. It turns out that this is a semi-new industry out there. It doesn't really surprise me because the industry is going to move at the rate they're forced to move.
Yeah.
Right.
And now these
government is
contractors
forcing
are
us.
forced. Yeah.
So
Being forced to.
there's probably fewer than 30 MSPs in the country who are capable truly of getting you compliant and keeping you there.
Yeah. I see a lot of MSPs claim that they can get people compliant, but they're not compliant themselves, nor do they ever plan to be. What's up with that?
The reason why it's a little bit ambiguous is because C3PAOs themselves are human beings and they are subject to, I don't want to say fallacies, but it's not a Scantron, okay? And so when you get assessed, what's in scope? And the big question that we're asking ourselves right now is, when you get assessed by a C3PAO, is your MSP in scope or out of scope? That's the question. And it depends on what environment you have. If your whole company is in scope, well, your MSP is likely in scope. If your devices are in scope, then your MSP who has access to your devices is likely in scope. If all your stuff is locked up in a VDI instance, QuickTrack or GCC VDI, your MSP may not have to be CMMC compliant because they have access to your laptops, but your laptops aren't in scope, are they? So as long as they don't have access to the enclave, well, then you're chill. So I think you would need to ask yourself and look at your network diagram and say, does my MSP have access to where I am hosting CUI? If the answer is yes, MSP is in scope. If the answer is no, the MSP probably will not be in scope. But there should be like a third-party policy. There's still some paperwork that should be documented, or the relationship between you and your MSP.
Mm. Mm. How so basically, unless you're in a VDI system, your MSP is in scope.
Yeah, that's pretty much as close to black and white as you can get. Yeah. But even then, you should still, who's managing your GCC VDI?
Right. Is it your FSO or is it the MSP? Do you have an FSO? It's probably
your MSP is.
You probably expect it to be the IT provider that you're paying.
Yeah.
Because
if you have a problem with your connection to your VDI, who are you calling?
Yeah, you're calling the help desk.
So
how does that work? If the help desk if the MSP is not compliant, and company thinks that MSP might not be in scope, but they have an issue with their environment that handles QE. They call the help desk about that. What happens next?
Well, I would hope that that help desk is aware of CMMC. That sentence alone, I think, warrants a little bit of a pause.
Yeah.
Most help desks do not know what CMMC is. If you Google
It says a lot about the industry as a
MSP,
whole, too.
MSP in DC, there's not an MSP out there who doesn't have the 4 letters CMMC on their website right now.
Every single one does.
Everybody claims to know and be an expert in CMMC, okay? And so I think the real litmus test would be, are they compliant themselves? Because if everybody is saying the same thing, I would feel like misled if I were the end client, if I were the customer and I was looking for an MSP to help me become compliant and stay there, looking for that CMMC compliant help desk. Well, then, you know, how do I know the degree to which they actually are aware of CMMC?
I mean, we brought on multiple clients this year, Metronome being one of them. We can just name drop. They're an awesome client of ours. And their MSP, they're the best client. They're so awesome.
Yeah.
Their MSP claimed that they could manage their compliance and get them compliant and that they were going to do so, and they never did. And so they went out looking, and we happened to find them. And it was such an easy transition. They paid a lot of money to get out of their contract to come with us because we can actually get them compliant. And how far are they out? They're very close, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they are compliant.
There they go. They're compliant.
Yeah.
So
they went through their mock audit. I'm not sure if they're actually compliant now.
Yeah. So, I mean, we got them there. So they wouldn't have been able to do that if the MSP
they have an FSO.
They're a larger company.
I think his name is Greg. I can't remember, but I think he got a promotion through this. Congrats, dude.
Congrats, Greg.
I think it's Greg. Anyway, so yeah, they. I think, you know, you're going to be faced, speaking to the customer, if you are a government contractor and you are looking to become CMMC compliant, you have one of 2 options. You either hire an MSP or you hire an MSP who is CMMC compliant. That's it. You either hope that they know what they're talking about or you know they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, because they've done it
themselves. The decision for me becomes obvious. And this one is probably a little bit more expensive, but...
How many MSPs in the country are compliant? I think people probably should know.
Fewer than 20.
Out of how many MSPs?
It's like 50,000.
In the US?
Domestically, yeah.
So you got 20 options. And I honestly think that I've seen the list. There's actually a public list out there of MSPs that are compliant. A lot of them have shifted. Most of them are DC based. A lot of them have shifted their business towards just bidding on contracts. They actually don't even service clients anymore. They just bid on IT support contracts. They think they can make more money doing that, I guess.
Maybe they can.
Maybe they can.
Yeah. Yeah, my goal is to... My goal is to create a company where any customer can walk through our front door and we can say, welcome to Network Depot, and get them onboarded. That would be my goal. Whether they have compliance or whether they're huge or whether they're international or whether they're tiny and they're a little nonprofit. The American Sugar Beet Growers Association, 4 people, they've been a client for 11 years now. That is my goal, and to take care of them, put them in the right place, the right people, and take care of them forever.
Let me ask you one question just to end things off, and this is a perfect segue into it. What should clients expect from a great support technician beyond them being technically sound?
Let's take you through it chronologically. 1, when you call in for support, you should expect the first person you talk to be able to take that ticket to resolution. That's the first thing you should expect. The second is, if you're talking to them on the phone, you should expect a crisp microphone. This sounds little, It is little, but it is the only medium between us and the client, is how I sound. Sometimes little things matter. Well, this one is one for me. So you sound crisp, charismatic, well caffeinated, probably seen your problem for 5 to 7 years, comfortable because they've seen your problem before, at ease, hopefully putting you at ease, knowing that they're just going to knock this out. The last bit is you should expect them not to be rushed. Okay, and I talked about this internally.
You should repeat that again. That is so big that a tech is not like they're able to just do their job. They're not under a timeline.
I do not hold our technicians to ticket count. I see it. We have a dashboard. It's live. I can see trailing 7 days, month, whatever. I don't grade them on it. It's not a metric. It's a KPI for the business, but not for them personally. I want them to take care of the client, so they will not be rushed. And the ticket you call in about, they're going to knock it out. Like, they're not going to escalate it. They're going to knock it out. However, after they knock it out, you should expect, hey, while I have you, if you have time, is there anything else I can help you with? Anything else bothering you? Can I help you with anything else? Anything not syncing? Any calendars not showing up? That's what you should expect.
Yeah, that's awesome. We have a fantastic help desk. How has the help desk service, just in the industry in general, changed over the past 5 years? And then where do you think it'll be 5 years from now? Like, or what should it look like?
It's a great question, Matt. I think the help desk industry in general has been pretty static over the last 5 years. I would have expected a little bit more of an improvement. But I think for the reasons we discussed earlier, it's just,
Catch up.
it's a mindset of whoever's running the help desk. I have an urgent need, let me throw a body at it mindset. Fair enough. I don't see that changing. If that hasn't changed in the last 5 years, I don't see it changing. In fact, I probably see the customer service getting worse as people gravitate more towards AI and bots and
Deleting the need for it, essentially.
yeah, people are looking for that all the time. You know, how do I automate this ticket rather than put a human being on it? And like, you know,
And that's within the industry.
you should do that at a responsible level, right? If it's a quick change ad or something like that, a human being doesn't necessarily have to do it. But I see that trend going up to MSP's detriment. I also see, and this is of note, if you zoom way out, what you'll find in the industry as a whole is that most MSPs are coming up on, do I try to pass my MSP to a second generation or sell it? Most
Yeah.
MSP owners are aging to the point where they're in their 60s because they started in the 90s,
They're in
around
that
the
10,
2000s.
15, 20-year mark, and they're ready to exit.
Yeah, so a lot of MSPs are exiting. It's already begun, and it's about to pick up.
Yeah.
Huge stats on this. So what you'll probably notice if you're a customer is that your MSP might be gearing up to sell. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for you, but
worse.
yeah, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing for the client, but it is a risk.
Yeah. That relationship will certainly change or
You put
cease
it
to
to test.
exist.
You won't see if you have a good relationship with the owner of your MSP and the owner sells, then you won't have that relationship anymore.
Yeah, of course.
That at the minimum. So, yeah.
Yeah, and likely the high-level technicians that might follow the owner to wherever he goes or she goes.
Yeah, or the lower. It's just it's going to shake things up. So maybe for the better, but I don't know. Yeah, that's what you should expect.
All right, last question on this topic, and then we can just cut things off. What should clients expect from modern IT support that they didn't expect before? 2026, what should they expect? What should be the standard?
What should be the standard for IT support in 2026?
You could just say Network Depot if you'd like.
What should the standard be for IT support in 2026? Well, I'd like to set the standard.
Yeah. I think we are. There's seriously nobody else out there that's doing this. 13,000 tickets and 12 negative responses. It's like not almost possible. It sounds like we're lying. Seriously, I present our live help desk stats to every new prospect. If you're an up and coming prospect, you want to look at Network Depot or another MSP as an option, you come on board and I share a proposal, I'm going to show you the live stats. And it might say 100% CSAT score, and you're going to think I'm lying.
It's crazy, dude.
It's insane.
I have the numbers in front of me, man. I didn't want to forget them. So I had the numbers in front of me, and I actually have the trailing 3 years. Let me add them up real quick. I haven't done this yet. 25, 35. In the last 3 years, we've closed a little over 35,000 tickets. And last year in 2025, we got 12 negative reviews. In 2024, we got 13. And in 2023, we got 15. So that means that out of 35,000 tickets in the last 3 years, we have gotten
Less than 40.
fewer than 40, 35 negative reviews.
So you're lying.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's insane. It's insane. Out of 35,000 tickets in the last 3 years, we have gotten 35 negative reviews.
And last year there were what, 3,000 responses, 3,000 plus responses,
Yeah. Yeah.
almost all being positive.
Yeah.
Except for 12.
Yeah.
And a couple of times some of those 12 were errors. Like they accidentally put negative. I remember that happening in like July.
It's hard for me to say which ones are in error or not going back. Some have comments and some don't have comments. And for the ones who don't have for the ones who have comments, I'm like, okay, well, like,
Okay, fair enough.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, let's fix that.
Yeah, but for the ones that don't have comments, it's just like a red frowny face.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was an error or not. So I'd have to go back in the ticket and check. But
Yeah.
it does happen.
I'd be interested to see how many. Well, because it comes back and it kind of just looks like an image, and like you can just click on frowny or smiley face. Like it doesn't
Right.
light up when you hover it with your mouse.
Right.
So I don't know. I'd be interested to see how many had comments. That'd be a fun metric.
Yeah.
Be like 4 for the whole year.
I mean, I looked at it yesterday, and a handful. I mean, 4 or 5, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absurd.
That's
Cool.
crazy.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I don't think so, man.
What's the
I
elevator
don't think
pitch?
so.
Network
Dude,
Depot versus.
I love talking help desk. I love talking
Yeah.
shop. And it turns out that help desk is a huge part of our shop. So I love it.
It's so fun. We don't sell it enough.
Yeah, it's hard to sell a help desk.
Yeah,
So,
you show numbers, people are like, okay, it sounds good, but like
yeah.
it's hard to sell it. So we kind of sell like process and like we'll get you to the point where you don't have to call the help desk. And I'm like, maybe they should call the help desk more. Their help desk is pretty good. Like, maybe we should leave
It is
them
good.
calling the help desk.
Oh, you know what we didn't talk about? Maybe this is a decent thing to leave on. We're not resting on our laurels here. Okay, I aim for perfection. Okay, that's the mark. We didn't really miss it last year. You might be thinking, okay, well, they're probably just hoping to repeat that, and you'd be wrong. I'm looking to still improve the response time, the time to resolution, the CSAT scores, the entirety of it. And one of the ways that we are doing that, and we've already done this with most of our clients, is our ticketing system integrates directly into your Teams or Slack, but most of our clients are Teams. And what that looks like is you open up your Teams, and you see all your chats over here, and you'll see a Network Depot icon. Click on that. It opens up a little chat window, and you can just say, hey, what's up? I'm having a printer problem. Boom. It creates a ticket. Nice little beautiful graphic comes up. Like, this is not our design. We use a third party for this. But it communicates directly into our ticketing system. And our dispatcher says, hey, what's up? And answers you immediately. Understands what the problem is and assigns it to the proper tech. And the tech would they will reach out right on there, or they'll just give you a call.
Yeah.
You can attach images to it, just drag and drop the images into it if it's like an error message, or you can add multiple people on that thread. For instance, if I wanted to, if one of our users was asking for my permission for something and I needed to give approval, then they could tag me in that thread. I would get pulled in. Hey, Chris, do you approve this? Yes, I do. It's very, very,
call it Teams chat.
Yeah, it's just a Teams chat. So that level of efficiency, we're seeing obviously time, every KPI associated with time is reducing in our favor. But number two is the clients are happier because we're meeting them where they are.
Yeah.
They're working in teams already. We're meeting them
A
where they're at.
lot of these companies have an internal IT person or like their IT guy, and they just hit them up on Teams to get their problem solved. And it's like, okay,
Sure.
we'll just meet you there too.
Sure. I hate
We're right
tickets,
there.
dude. I spent, we use ConnectWise for our ticketing system. It's the most common PSA.
Make
out
that our
there.
slogan. I hate tickets. Just
I hate
it on the
tickets.
site.
It's true. I hate tickets. I hate how ugly they are. I hate tickets. I hate that they're in my inbox, right? So this is a beautiful solution to that, where it's just on my Teams. And by the way, because it's on my Teams, it means it's on my phone.
Yeah, it's so easy.
Take
You can literally be in
pictures
the
of
car.
stuff, screenshots of stuff, be anywhere, walk away from my desk. Most of
In
the
a
time,
meeting.
one of the complaints that we were hearing is that when a technician is working with a user on a problem, that user is where? Tethered to their workstation.
Yeah,
I have to freaking sit here,
Yeah, and
watch
wait.
you, do your thing.
it's the worst.
It could be 5 minutes, feels like 5 hours because
Yeah.
I'm trapped in this room.
Mhm.
What if I could walk away?
Yeah,
Right? What if I
That's
could launch
such an
ticket to
advantage.
communicate with you on my cell phone?
especially if you're an owner and you're busy, or if you're in a meeting. Like, hey, I'm in a meeting. The tech's trying to call me back. I mean, how often have you seen that in the industry before? Trying to call me back. I'm in a meeting for another 2 hours, and then I had something come up. I can't talk today, and then your problem is just lingering, and the tech's like scrambling trying to get a hold of you. If they're a good tech, they're supposed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so this kind of empowers them to just like shoot a text, basically.
Yeah.
The tech can fix it. Schedule time.
It leads to much easier scheduling. We used to use a scheduling software called TimeZest, which nobody ever used. I don't know why, but it used to allow the user to book time with the tech.
Seems so much
and-
easier. I'm available now. I'm available in an hour.
Yeah, I'm free. I'm free now. I'm free now.
Or-
I'm free in 5.
I gotta go do laundry because I work at home. Like,
Yeah. Hey man, I know we were gonna chat at 3, but I'm running late. Can we push this off to tomorrow morning? And our technician's gonna see that live pop up on their screen. Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll block off 9 a.m. for you. There you
yeah,
go.
it's a live chat, and it's so awesome because it's branded as us, and it feels like it's your own team. Like, this is just the little widget that's my IT department.
Mhm.
It literally says ND support, Network Depot support. You
does.
click on it,
And
it's just
the
a live
logo
chat.
right there. Yeah.
So awesome.
Anyway, so yeah, the point of describing that was there's always a little bit room for improvement, and I plan on executing on that.
That's my
improvement.
favorite feature of our help desk.
Yeah,
It's
it's cool.
so awesome.
It's cool.
Okay.
Clients love it.
Yeah, they do. They do. I see the reviews come in. All right.
All right, dude.
Okay.